Alright, so today's August 17th. Been exploring what I want to do with my backyard as my next experiment. Pretty well got it figured out what I want to do. I don't really have enough sprinkler coverage to cover the entire backyard, so I'm going to take a section of it, prepare it, get it ready, put seed down and starter fertilizer, and let it go for a couple of weeks. Keep it wet, let it germinate well. Then I'm going to move on to another section of the backyard and then a third section of the backyard. So I already started on part of that. Show you where I am right now with it. I did start watering it last night, and both of my oscillating sprinklers that I was going to use crapped out on me, so I had to go get one. I'm going to set it up today and we'll go from there. So let's go back and see what we're going to do. This will be my last section right in through here where it's so dead. I'm going to start right over in here. I have already done a little bit of work here. What I'm going to do is take my rake and scrape the ground, get it prepared. I've already done this section right in through here. And I've already seeded and put down fertilizer. And the next section I'm going to do is this out in here. And do it the same way. And we will see how all this works. It'll be another experiment. See how it goes. Oh, speaking of experiments, I did prepare the ground right there. I did not prepare it over here. So I'm going to treat them as two equals and see how my grass seed does over here where I didn't really scratch up the ground. Alright, I'm going to set up here and we'll see where we go. Alright, let's see what this new sprinkler will do. Got this thing here. It is supposed to have all these adjustable edges on it. Let me turn this around so I can see what I'm doing here. Little adjustments on it here for how far I want it to go. All the way on one side, all the way on the other. And then also has adjustment here for if you want it to shoot real wide pattern or a real narrow pattern. So we will hook this up and see how it works. I'm going to put it all the way wide or all the way narrow to start with. I think that's going to be about right for here. Here's my old sprinkler. I think this thing's about at least 20, if not 25, 30 years old. So it's time to go. Trash. Should be about middle. Let's see what it does. I can tell that it's way too narrow for what I'm going to need. Camera, please. Just missed it. Let's go back a little bit here. Let's see what that does. All right, it looks much better. I'll let that run for a couple hours. Let it run last night before the sprinkler messed up on me, and it actually just stopped on one side and ran that way for about an hour before I realized it had stopped. And came out here and shut it off and walked over there to that side, and you could hardly tell it had been running. The ground is so dry here. We've had a lot of heat, no rain. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is go over here to the other side and start raking up that other. Wouldn't you know it, I'm right in the sunshine too. It's gonna be nice and hot. All right, I went ahead and started on what I was gonna be doing. Started me a line here to go by. Cleaned up a little around my wood pile. So I want to go ahead and try to get grass all the way up against it. But you can see here just some gentle raking. It's already formed a little line here. Let's see if I can get it to show up on the camera. There we go. Right at the shadow of my camera. There's a line where I've scratched the ground, basically just pulling up all the weed that I killed off. Along with hickory nuts. Lots of hickory nuts here. And sticks and leaves. And trash. Rocks. So here's what I'll be doing. Let's get all this backyard cleaned up here. So some of you might be asking why I don't just go rent a power rake to do all this. I think I mentioned in my last video, but I can't afford it. I think that's the reason why a lot of us got into doing stuff DIY, do it yourself. We just can't afford to hire somebody else or to buy equipment or rent equipment. So it's a little bit harder. It's tiring, it's hot. I think it's 97 degrees today. I'm sure the humidity is about the same. But can't afford to do anything else. So gotta do it myself. So, since we got so much sun over there, I decided I'd move over here to shade, work on this area down through here. That area out there will shade up when the sun goes another couple hours. I think I'll work in the shade for a little while. So the sprinkler's been running less than 30 minutes. Just the length of time it's taken me to scrape off a little bit that other part of the yard. And I already see water starting to pond. So I think I'm going to turn it off. Let it go about another 30 minutes or so without running. Give that water a chance to soak in and then start it back up again. So I've been taking frequent water breaks. Just got through with one, about to start back again. Riding through here's got a lot of moss and really dig at it. Wish I had some dirt, but I don't. So I checked, and it's not quite time to turn the sprinkler back on. It's still pretty soppy. So I'll give it a little bit longer. I think I'll go ahead and do this section right over in here more in the sun. Out the shade has helped me out a little bit. And then next water break, I'll check on the sprinkler then. All right, here we go. Like I did a while ago toward the end of that other. Get over here in the shade. That right there's some good soil. Could be because my field lines come out right over there into the woods. Has some nice looking dirt. Wish my whole yard looked like that instead of clay like I have on most of it. Took a break, checked up there where the water is, and sprinkler needed to be turned back on, so I turned it back on. Now I'm going to try to finish up this area right over in here. Then we'll see if we can't go ahead and do some seeding and fertilizer out in here. Decided I'm just going to go ahead and just try to do it. See if I can just move the sprinkler around and keep this area wet until the seed. Talked to the neighbor a few minutes while I did the water up there at the sprinkler got enough for it starting to run off again, so I went ahead and shut it off. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up here and see if I can get some seed and some starter fert out here and get this thing going. I think that'll do. I'll go get some seed put out here, put some starter fertilizer out here, and move the sprinkler over and see if I can't get some of this watered. So here's what I'm putting down. See if I can get that to show up here on the screen. You can see it's creeping red fescue, chewing fescue, and some bluegrass. And then a little bit of annual rye, or perennial rye, just to kind of hold it, I think, until the rest of it gets going. That's what that's for. But let's get it in the spreader. I'm going to use one of these little whiz spreaders. Fill it up, put it out there, and then I've got some starter fert I'm going to put down out there too. Again, I'm just going to spread it with the little whiz spreader. So there's what I got. Let's see how it goes. Alright, time to go get the starter fert. Alright, well there's the seed and starter fertilizer. Now I'll go up and get the sprinkler. See if I can set it up down here and get all this watered in. Looks like I got it pretty close the first time. Let's see here. See if it hits that blueberry bush limb right there. I see it moving. I know we're in good shape. Getting there. Come on. Yep, I saw it. Hit it. Definitely getting enough over here on the sides. It's just getting into where the wet area was from the other sprinkler section, right up in there. I see it hitting the woods right over in there. And it looks like it's coming far enough right down here too. Won't know until it runs a little bit more, but it looks like it is. So we'll let that run until I see it starting to pond up like it did on the other section. Shut it off for a little while and then come back and turn it back on. Let it pond up a little more. Oh, and one more thing. I am going to include a couple of pictures in here of the way the yard looked when it was in good shape. Actually was real impressed with the way the Perennial Rye did for me while it was still cool season, of course. When it started getting hot and dry, it just toasted, which I was afraid it might, but I wanted to give it a try and see.